Welcome. This is not a place for quick answers or empty motivation. This is a space to slow down, to look honestly at life, and to ask the questions we usually avoid when the noise finally fades. Here, we don't tell you how to live. We walk with you as you look at what is already happening inside your own experience. Not to judge it, not to escape it, but to understand it, because sometimes the most important truths are the ones we feel quietly, late at night, when no one is watching. Time does not announce itself when it moves. It doesn't knock. It doesn't warn you. You inhale, and the moment is already gone. You exhale, and something has quietly changed. This is not meant to frighten you, but it often does. Because one day, without realizing when it happened, you notice that youth no longer feels permanent. Your body responds differently than it used to. Energy fades faster. Recovery takes longer. Even familiar places and people begin to feel distant, as if they belong to another version of your life. What hurts most is not aging itself. It is the sudden awareness that time has been passing while you were busy surviving, adjusting, postponing what mattered. Many people carry this quiet confusion, a sense that life is moving forward, but they are somehow behind it, that they have been preparing for a future that keeps arriving faster than expected. Buddhism does not look away from this truth. It looks directly at it. Time flows through every breath, without permission, without exception, and resisting that reality does not stop it. It only creates tension, fear, and regret. The pain you feel is not a personal failure. It is a human response to impermanence. And understanding this is not the end of meaning. It is the beginning of living more honestly with what is already here. Most of us do not say it out loud, but we live as if the important things will remain exactly where they are. We plan our lives assuming that relationships will stay familiar, that health will hold, that status and security will protect us. We build careers, homes, identities, and routines as if time has quietly agreed to our plans. Underneath this way of living is an unspoken belief. This will last. We rarely notice how deeply we depend on that belief. It shapes our decisions, our sacrifices, even our silence. We delay rest. We postpone joy. We tell ourselves we will live fully later when things are more stable, more certain, more secure. But stability, as we imagine it, is an illusion, and the fear of loss never disappears. It simply hides behind effort, achievement, and distraction. When something finally changes, as it always does, the pain feels overwhelming. Not only because we lost something, but because we trusted it to stay. We believed it belonged to us. We built our sense of safety around it. This is why loss can feel like collapse. Not because we loved too deeply, but because we clung too tightly. Buddhism does not criticize this attachment. It recognizes it as a human response to fear, and it gently asks us to see what we have been holding before it breaks us. Impermanence is often misunderstood. Many hear it as a dark idea, something cold or discouraging. But impermanence is not a threat. It is a description of reality as it already is. Everything changes, from the smallest particle of dust to the largest star, from a passing emotion to a lifelong relationship. Nothing escapes movement. Nothing freezes in place. This is not a personal sentence passed down to you. It is not proof that you failed to hold life together. It is the nature of existence itself. When Buddhism speaks of impermanence, it is not asking you to give up caring. It is asking you to stop blaming yourself for what could never stay. Pain does not arise because things change. Pain arises because we expect them not to. When you understand this deeply, something softens inside. You begin to see that your grief, your fear, your exhaustion are not weaknesses. They are signs that you have been resisting a universal law. Impermanence is not here to take meaning away. It is here to free you from the belief that something is wrong with you. Nothing is broken. Everything is simply moving. We live in a world that changes faster than ever before. Technology evolves, jobs shift, relationships stretch across distance. Nothing feels fixed for long. And yet, in the middle of all this movement, we demand certainty from life. We build careers hoping they will define us. We curate images, hoping they will protect us. We construct identities, hoping they will make us feel solid and secure. This is the paradox. Surrounded by uncertainty, we try to anchor ourselves through control. We measure progress, track milestones, polish how we appear to others. We tell ourselves that once everything is in order, once we reach a certain level, a certain role, a certain version of ourselves, we will finally be at ease. But the opposite often happens. The more we try to control life, the heavier it feels. The more tightly we manage our image, the more fragile it becomes. Many people today are not tired because they lack strength. They are tired because they are constantly holding everything together. Buddhism does not ask us to abandon responsibility. It invites us to notice how much effort goes into maintaining a sense of control that life never promised. And in seeing that clearly, we begin to understand why modern life feels so exhausting despite all its conveniences. We often say we do not have enough time. Not enough time to rest. Not enough time to live fully. Not enough time to be present. But time itself is not the true problem. The deeper question is how we are using the time we already have. Where does our attention go? What do we keep postponing? If today were your last day, what would still feel unfinished? Not tasks or obligations, but words left unsaid, moments unlived, truths avoided. Many people are not exhausted because life is difficult. They are exhausted because they are constantly trying to be someone successful enough, someone respected enough, someone worthy of attention, approval, or love. From an early age, we learn that value must be earned. We learn to perform, to compare, to measure ourselves against others. And slowly, a quiet pressure forms inside. I must become more. This pressure follows us everywhere. Even in moments of rest, the mind keeps working. It asks whether we are doing enough, achieving enough, becoming enough. And no matter how much we accomplish, the feeling rarely settles. Underneath this effort is a fear we rarely name. The fear of being overlooked, the fear of being forgotten, the fear that if we stop striving, we might disappear. This is why so many people feel not enough, even when they are deeply capable. Not because they are lacking, but because they are measuring themselves through an impossible standard. Buddhism does not shame this struggle. It sees it as a sign of deep confusion about where worth truly comes from. And when we begin to question the need to prove ourselves, something inside us starts to loosen. What we usually call the self is not a solid thing. It is a structure built over time. It is made of memories, expectations, roles, and habits. It is shaped by how others see us and how we believe we should be seen. We construct an image, then spend our lives protecting it. This image speaks inside our mind. It tells us who we are. It reminds us of what we must maintain. And it warns us of what we might lose. But this is not our true nature. It is a survival pattern, formed from fear and desire. Living through this constructed self is exhausting. It requires constant effort, constant adjustment, constant performance. Many people long for rest, but do not know where to find it. They assume rest means stopping, but what they truly need is relief from pretending. Buddhism points to this gently. It shows us that the ego is not an enemy to fight, but a mask we no longer need to wear. And in recognizing that, we are given permission to finally rest without disappearing. Many people sense this quietly, a feeling that life is happening, but not quite being lived. That days are full, yet something essential is missing. This is not about productivity or achievement. It is about meaning. Buddhism does not urge us to rush or panic. It gently redirects our attention. It asks us to look honestly at how we spend our energy, our care, our awareness. When time is lived unconsciously, it slips away unnoticed. When time is lived with clarity, even an ordinary moment becomes complete. The wish to live without regret is not a grand ambition. It is a quiet longing to be present before the moment is gone. Many people are not exhausted because life is difficult. They are exhausted because they are constantly trying to be someone successful enough, someone respected enough, someone worthy of attention, approval, or love. From an early age, we learn that value must be earned. We learn to perform, to compare, to measure ourselves against others. And slowly, a quiet pressure forms inside. I must become more. This pressure follows us everywhere. Even in moments of rest, the mind keeps working. It asks whether we are doing enough, achieving enough, becoming enough. And no matter how much we accomplish, the feeling rarely settles. Underneath this effort is a fear we rarely name. The fear of being overlooked, the fear of being forgotten, the fear that if we stop striving, we might disappear. This is why so many people feel not enough, even when they are deeply capable, not because they are lacking, but because they are measuring themselves through an impossible standard. Buddhism does not shame this struggle. It sees it as a sign of deep confusion about where worth truly comes from. And when we begin to question the need to prove ourselves, something inside us starts to loosen. What we usually call the self is not a solid thing. It is a structure built over time. It is made of memories, expectations, roles, and habits. It is shaped by how others see us and how we believe we should be seen. We construct an image, then spend our lives protecting it. This image speaks inside our mind. It tells us who we are. It reminds us of what we must maintain, and it warns us of what we might lose. But this is not our true nature. It is a survival pattern, formed from fear and desire. Living through this constructed self is exhausting. It requires constant effort, constant adjustment, constant performance. Many people long for rest, but do not know where to find it. They assume rest means stopping, but what they truly need is relief from pretending. Buddhism points to this gently. It shows us that the ego is not an enemy to fight, but a mask we no longer need to wear. And in recognizing that, we are given permission to finally rest without disappearing. When Buddhism speaks about the self, it does not deny your experience. It simply looks at it more closely. What we call me is not a single, solid thing. It is a collection of processes, constantly forming and dissolving. The Buddha described this through the 5 aggregates, 5 aspects of experience that arise together, then change. The first is the body. It is physical form, breath, movement, sensation. It ages, heals, weakens, and changes moment by moment. The second is feeling. Every experience carries a tone: pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. These feelings shift quickly, often without our control. The third is perception. This is how the mind recognizes and labels what it encounters. It names, compares, judges, and remembers. What feels familiar today may feel strange tomorrow. The fourth is mental formations. These are reactions, habits, intentions, and emotional patterns. They shape how we respond to life, often automatically, based on past experience. The fifth is consciousness. It is simple awareness, the knowing of sights, sounds, thoughts, and emotions as they arise. It moves continuously, never settling into one fixed place. Together, these 5 create the sense of a self, but none of them remain the same. None can be held. This teaching can feel frightening at first. If the self is not solid, what remains? If everything changes, will I disappear? Buddhism offers reassurance here. Letting go of a fixed self does not lead to emptiness. It leads to openness. You do not lose yourself. You are freed from carrying something that was never stable to begin with. The ego survives on 2 powerful forces: fear and desire. It wants to exist, to be seen, to matter. And at the same time, when pain becomes too heavy, it wants to disappear. This is the loop many people live inside. One moment, the mind is striving, trying to prove worth, chasing recognition, protecting identity. The next moment, it is exhausted, wanting escape, numbness, or relief from being itself. The ego tells us, I must become someone. Then, when that effort becomes overwhelming, it whispers, "I cannot do this anymore." Both movements come from the same misunderstanding, the belief that the self must be defended, improved, or erased in order to survive. Because the ego feels fragile, it reacts constantly. It compares, it resists, it clings and pushes away, and this constant tension becomes suffering. Buddhism does not ask us to destroy the ego, it asks us to see how it operates. When you recognize that the ego is fueled by fear and craving, you stop obeying every thought it produces. You begin to step out of the mental loop, not by force, but by understanding. Freedom begins the moment you see the pattern clearly. Letting go is often misunderstood as weakness, as giving up, as failure. But in Buddhism, letting go is an act of wisdom. It means seeing clearly what can and cannot be held. It means recognizing that control, ownership, and permanence were never truly available. We suffer not because things change, but because we try to possess what was never ours. We cling to roles, relationships, outcomes, and identities as if holding them tightly will make them stay. Letting go does not mean withdrawing from life. It means releasing the illusion that life must obey our grasp. When we let go of the need to own, we experience relationship without fear. When we let go of control, we act with clarity instead of tension. Something subtle but powerful happens. The body softens, the breath deepens, the mind becomes quieter. This is not collapse, it is relief. In letting go, you do not lose yourself. You finally stop fighting reality and discover how light living can feel. Many people fear that if they stop clinging, nothing will remain. They imagine emptiness as absence, as loss, as meaninglessness. But the experience is the opposite. When the mind no longer grips tightly, it becomes spacious. There is room to breathe, room to feel without panic, room to respond instead of react. In this space, calm arises naturally. Not forced calm, but the quiet that comes when there is nothing to defend. Kindness also finds room to grow. When we are no longer consumed by protecting the self, we notice others more clearly. Compassion becomes possible not as an obligation, but as a natural response. This spaciousness is not indifference. It is intimacy without fear. Buddhism points toward this gently. It does not ask you to become empty of life. It invites you to stop crowding the mind with clinging. And in that openness, something deeply human returns. Peace, clarity, and the simple ability to be present with what is. When Buddhism speaks of the Noble Eightfold Path, it is not offering rules to follow or beliefs to accept. It is describing a way of living that no longer depends on control. This path begins with seeing clearly, not seeing through borrowed ideas, but noticing directly how suffering arises and how it fades. This is right view not as philosophy, but as honesty with your own experience. From clear seeing comes right intention. How we choose to move through the day matters. Are our actions guided by fear or by care? By habit or by understanding? Right speech and right action grow naturally from this awareness. They are not about perfection. They are about alignment. Words spoken with care create less harm. Actions guided by mindfulness leave fewer regrets. The path continues through how we earn our living, how we direct our effort, how we train attention, and how we allow the mind to settle. Each aspect supports the others, like parts of a living system. This is not a checklist, it is a rhythm. When life is lived this way, we stop forcing outcomes. We stop gripping so tightly, and without trying to control everything, life becomes more honest, more grounded, and strangely, more stable. Many people chase happiness, believing it will save them, but happiness comes and goes. It depends on conditions, moods, and circumstances. Buddhism points to something deeper. What truly matters is freedom from suffering. This freedom does not mean avoiding pain or difficulty. It means no longer being ruled by craving and fear. It means living without being pulled apart by wanting things to be different than they are. When the mind is not dependent on constant satisfaction, it becomes steady. When it is not driven by fear of loss, it becomes brave. This is not indifference to life. It is engagement without chains. Freedom from suffering allows joy to arise naturally, without pressure. It allows love without possession. It allows meaning without anxiety. What matters most is not building a perfect life. It is living a life that no longer collapses when conditions change. Life is not long, but it is long enough to wake up. Each breath is a chance to return. Each moment offers an opening to see clearly, to soften the heart, to release what cannot be kept. Awakening does not require dramatic change. It begins quietly with attention, with care, with honesty. You do not need to rush. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to notice what is already here, before the moment passes. Life does not ask us to live forever. It asks us to live wisely, and that wisdom does not come later. It begins now, gently, clearly, without urgency. This is not an ending, it is an invitation to live awake, while there is still time.